Hello Flosstube, my name's Emily. Welcome back to my channel, Katybug Creations. This is a channel about cross stitch and other crafting. And it has been a week. It's been a week. I am going to talk about that a little because despite what some people may think, this does have impact even on cross stitching, and that seems odd. If you are not wanting to watch that, and I completely understand, sometimes people just don't have, they're not in a mental place to be able to deal with that, or you're just here for the cross stitch, that's cool. I will take a little piece of fabric and wave it, and you can just skip ahead to that. What I'm going to say though is that racism and white supremacy are present in communities you don't think they are. And that includes the fiber arts community. And it happens in pervasive ways that we don't really think about. If I can find it, I'm going to link a thread in the description box below by a woman named Abby Frankmont, I think. And forgive me, like I said, I'm going to have to go back and look it up. And she outlines some of her experiences as a person of color in the fiber arts community and the racism that she has experienced. But we see this in our community in other ways. Patterns are not charted with alternative skin tones. It's something the Sunshine Stitchers have been talking about. And so if you go and you stitch something that has an alternate skin tone other than white, you know, there's the diversity inclusion SAL, stitch along is what that means. You know, and that's just one way that people don't even think about it, right? It's just, oh, well, this is what it is. You don't think about it if you're white. You do think about it if you're not. And to that end, there are some things when it comes to the cross stitch community that I think need to be addressed. And I don't have all the receipts on this. I know that Coffee Stitcher and Michelle Bendy of Bendy Stitchy do. Before Thanksgiving, a designer of color was working on a design. Again, I don't know who this person was. I saw all of this on Instagram, and it was in stories, and I never saved any of it. But a designer of color was working on a design and came up against Weeks Dye Works Confederate Gray. And people went, whoa, we hadn't really thought about that. So there are two companies that make things in Confederate Gray. One is Weeks Dye Works. They have fabric and they have floss in Confederate Gray. The other was Zweigart, which is one of the big fabric makers. So people started emailing. And Zweigart got back almost immediately that they had changed the name to Mystic Gray over the summer. That change had not gotten populated through all retailers, etc. yet, but they had changed the name. That was taking place. Great. Weeks Dye Works, you know, they were closed over the holidays. Then when they were followed up with, the CEO of the company, her son had surgery. Fine, cool. We understand. You do have stuff to deal with. But there's been no word since. Like at all. I talked to Michelle Bendy earlier this week. Nobody's heard anything. So, to that end, I will no longer be using Weeks Dye Works until that name has been changed. And I know that there are people thinking, oh, it's just a name. What does it matter? And I am an English professor. That's what I do. Words are literally my job, which might surprise you given as much as I stumble over them. But words are literally my job. And when it may not seem like a big deal, but when those terms, when Confederate gray is used, when there is a statue of a Confederate general, it may not be completely affecting, but it is doing something, and that is showing the people who are racist that society is tacitly okay with this. And when a society is tacitly okay with even small mentions and reminders of racism, then that emboldens those who are racist. And I'm saying this on my channel, and I realize there are people who don't agree with me. To each their own. But you have to say something. We have to say, this is not the time not to just not be racist. You have to be vocal and you have to be anti-racist, or our democracy is not going to survive. And it may doom this channel before it starts, before it really gets started. But I have to say something. Wherever I have a voice, I have to say something. So that's what I have to say. This isn't okay. And, if you do think it's okay, the unsubscribe button's below. Sorry. This is what I believe, and this is what I'm going to stand for. This is what I'm going to say. Okay. Waving the piece of cloth. We're done with the politicking. On to the cross-stitching, which is what people are here for. I have cross-stitched a lot this week. This week my husband went back to work. He's still working here at the house. But he went back to work. So the kids and I have been spending a lot of time just doing stuff. But I've also been cross-stitching to manage my anxiety, which has been at an all-time high this week. So the first thing that I worked on this week, actually the first thing I worked on this week was a model stitch that I'm not going to show you, and which is in timeout because I'm going to have to frog being rip it, part of it because it's all off. I found a mistake in the pattern, and so it has to be adjusted. So then I started working on Anne of Green Gables again. So I am about halfway done with page 5. And I did not realize looking at the picture that this was a giant leaf there. It's very, it's more abstract and not super on topic. I don't know. This part of the design doesn't necessarily seem to have much to do with Anne of Green Gables, but it's pretty, it's part of the design. I'm going to stitch it. Anyway, about half of that done. My Kermit needle minder is from Inconsiderate Stitch on Etsy, and I will have that linked below. So, that is Anne. So I worked on that this week. Then I have also worked on Miss Bingley's Library from Plum Street Samplers. So I shall be miserable if I have not an excellent library. It's just one of my, I just love that. So here this is. I have finished Pemberley's roof. And yes, I am saying that this is Pemberley and not Netherfield. I know that Caroline Bingley lived at Netherfield, but she wanted Pemberley, and I like the idea that it's Pemberley a whole lot better. So I've gotten the roof done. That is done in I think it's in Swamp Water by Weeks Dye Works. Again, yes, I'm not going to use Weeks anymore, but I am going to use what I have. So I'm still missing a color. I'm still missing Classic Colorworks used brick, and it is out of stock on 123 Stitch. And as I said, I don't have a local needlework store anymore, so I'm gonna have to order it from there. But I think it's coming along nicely, and you can't really see the variation in the thread here, but it looks, I like it. I think it looks really good. So I'm doing this 1/1 on 28 count linen, and I realize that there are a lot of people out there who don't know all the terminology. 28 count linen means it's 28 stitches to an inch. So that's what the count means. And so I'm doing it 1/1. So there's 28 stitches to an inch here. Very tiny. I'm using teeny tiny size 28 round ball needle, or round tip needle. And that needle minder came from Dinkai Designs on Etsy. I love it. Okay, so while the kids are outside playing and while I was waiting at the doctor's office, I also worked on Historic Stickmooster's Shooting Star Stitch Along. So this Shooting Star Sal, and I'll put a picture in of what it's supposed to look like. So this week I got all of these swirls done, which I'm pretty thrilled about. This one right here is over 1 stitch too far, but I decided this is 28 count even weave and I'm not pulling it out. It can just be 1 stitch over. It's not a big deal. I don't care. So got that done. And then the last thing that I worked on, and this I've made enormous progress on this weekend, is this Pansies pattern from DMC from 2002. And I put this on my brand new 17 by 17 inch frame that my in-laws got me for Christmas. And I tell you what, I don't know how I didn't learn this before, that flipping it upside down means you're still stitching the same, that your lower legs and your top legs still all go the same way as they do right side up. So I have gotten big part of this flower done. I've gotten all of this flower done. This is on 14 count Ada because I got this when I was 17 and I had to get what I could get in small town Kentucky before we had Amazon and all that stuff. If I was doing it today, I'd probably do it on 18 count linen, or 18 count Ada, which is my preferred stitching. But as I was saying last week, I had been just a little concerned, I guess, about dye lots matching because it's been 17 years since I worked on this. But that is not turning out to be a problem, fortunately. So keep your cross stitching stored away from light. That's the takeaway there. What else? If you hear something, we're actually under a gale warning right now. It is super windy right now. Okay, knitting. So this is the yarn that my mom got me for Christmas, and it is it's Red Heart Super Saver. It's an ombre. So I cast on this shawl, and it's an easy shawl. I found the video on YouTube, and I'll try to link it below. I'm not sure I like it, partly because these are not the right size needles. I'm still waiting on the correct needles to arrive, but I don't have them yet. And so I'm not sure that this is going to work. It has this little lacy edge detail here. I can't see it real well. I don't know that I like it. It's not going to be a big deal for me to tink it, so tink and be knit backwards, to take it out and start something new. I'm just still not sure what I want to do. Like I know I want to do some sort of a shawl, and it may be that I just do a big rectangular wrap. That may just be what I do. So the other thing that I need to be working on, because we did have some fantastic news this week, because on the 4th, my niece was born. So my newest niece was born, which has just tickled me to death, and I've gotten to talk to her and my brother and my sister-in-law and my nephew several times this week, and it's been so wonderful. I love her so much. So I actually have fabric cut out to make her a quilt, to make her a baby quilt. And so I have little unicorns, and it's kind of pink with stars, kind of a purple grunge. Whoa, the white balance just went there. That's a little truer to, okay, I don't actually know what's going on with my lighting and the color balancing. That's about right. And then this kind of watercolory. Whoa, what is up with the white balance? There you go. So I am going to make her a quilt out of these. Kind of see them all together. Because I habitually overbuy fabric, I'm sure nobody else knows what that's like. And then I cut all of it up because Katie, my daughter Katie, was helping me cut stuff up. I have way too many squares, like way too many squares. So either my niece is going to get a queen size quilt, or I'm going to have to make Katie one too. So that may be what happens. Let's see. Okay, what else? So I had a comment from Joanna about the auction day from Stony Creek Designs that I've been working on this 25 count Lugana, and so there it is. That's what I had so far. And she told me something I didn't know. Lugana, you should not masking tape your edges. I did not know that. Now I have pretty much stopped masking taping my edges. And whenever I figure out how to use my serger, which is actually what you guys are sitting on top of right now, when I figure out how to use my serger, I'm just going to start serging edges. Right now I don't know how to do that. But yeah, just don't mask the edges of Lugana, because when it comes back off, it will distort your fabric. Okay, now I'm definitely going to throw this out. Not a problem. I have some 32 count Joblin in ivory in my stash. I don't know what brand this is. I know I got this at the needlework store in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. I don't have a very large stash, but what I do have is mostly Joblin. I went through my stash and I have 2 big pieces of antique white in 32 count. I have, strangely enough, teal Ada in 18 count. I have no idea what I intended this for, because I don't tend to buy fabric I don't have stuff in mind for. So maybe it was on sale, I don't know. Okay, so the other thing I was going to do today was show everybody some of the finishes that I did this year, and I am looking for something that I obviously cannot find. We've had fun this week because Sam, who is 3, wants me to teach him how to titch. So he's been asking for weeks, Mommy, when you go show me how to titch? Mommy, I want to titch with you. And his older sister, Katie, she has learned how to stitch. So, okay, I found it. So Katie and Sam have been learning how to titch. So I got plastic needles, I got some plastic canvas, and now these 3 stitches I did to anchor his thread. The rest of them, Sam did. Until he lost interest. He's 3. I mean, what do we expect? But he got to sit down and try to titch. And I don't know if he's still going to be interested in doing it or if this was enough and he's done. Now, Katie, when her brother started teaching, then wanted to come back to her project that she's been working on. So she actually got quite far. She's been working on this little bookmark. And she got to through with that bit of purple, and then she said, "Mommy, I think I want some red." So I went and I found her some red. And then she has decided that she wants some dark green for the bottom. Kid, you do you. So this is Katie's project. She's 5, so I will show hers off. Okay, so today I said last week I was going to show some of the things that I have finished. Now, I finished some of this stuff over the last year, and crinkle, crinkle, crinkle. Some of this is just stuff I finished and I haven't gotten framed yet. Oh, I bet that's what that is. Okay. This I didn't finish last year. This I just finished. God, when did I finish this? 2015. So it's been the same year Katie was born. I must have finished it. The summer I was pregnant with her. This is a rooster, a French rooster, and the pattern for this came out of Just Cross Stitch. I have no idea which issue. I do know that there is a second one that I would like to do at some point, assuming I can find the issue it's in. And I love this, and the colors on this are just really, they're really, really fun. I hated that border, but it was really, really fun. But it's reminded me of my great-grandmother. She had a picture of a rooster in her kitchen for as long as I remember, made out of colored beans, like little pinto beans that had been dyed, and then they had kind of been mosaicked into a rooster. So when I saw this, I just immediately thought of her. So I did that one. I need to do the other one, assuming I can find the pattern. Another thing that I have, but that's what I think one of those pieces of Jobelin is for doing the other rooster, because I think that's what I ended up buying that for. Okay, another thing I did, I finished this year. I actually had started it in 2013 or 2014, I think, but I finished this year. This is the Strawberry Thief, and this came out of The Art of William Morris in Cross Stitch, which is by Barbara Hammett, which is this book right here. It's out of print. So I did that. I did a couple of Easter eggs. So there's this little one and this little one that I really need to just kind of finish off and then like put them on a little dollar store easel on the mantle or something. I don't do a lot of knickknacks, so but I thought it was cute. What else have I done? Oh, so I have somewhere 2 fairies that I stitched for Katie. I stitched it out of this book. This one, so this was the day, and this was the night. So I did day in like 2011, and then I think I started night in 2015 when I was pregnant with Katie, and then I only finished it last year. I have no idea where they are. I have looked all over my bedroom. I remember thinking, I'm going to put this where nothing will happen to it. Do I know where that was? Nope. I'll find it. I know it's in a tube. Like it's in a tube that that fabric comes in. Anyway, the other things that I have done this year, it's a T-Rex. Sam was so excited. Mommy, you teach me a T-Rex. So this pattern is from Geo Creations UK on Etsy. It's super cute. They have this colorway. They also have one that's more rainbowy. I love it. It's so cute. So there's the T-Rex, and then there's also his stega. I haven't ironed any of this, obviously. There's his stega. So I still have a pattern for a triceratops that I need to do. I have to find some off-white, yes, I have to find some antique white 18 count Aida so they all three match. But I will insert a picture of what that looks like right here. So then, what else did I do? I stitched, I think I showed this, I stitched Blessed Assurance from my grandmother. I stitched this stained glass angel from my mother. And if I can find a picture that I took of it, I also stitched the logo for the Cincinnati Reds from the Great Big Machine era, this would be the 70s, for my dad. And I'll put a picture of it right here. So that I actually charted myself, which was an adventure. And I had to buy a box of red floss to finish that one, which was fun. So last, what I stitched was these vintage seed packets. So there was the first one I did. It was the watermelon. And you can see that I've personalized it to say Winchester, Kentucky, instead of whatever it says on the thing. There's the watermelon. And I've done this on 18 count antique white or ivory. I think I've the rest of them are on ivory. It doesn't matter, they're full coverage. I've done that on 18 count ivory. And so then there's the sweet corn, which I thought the back stitching on that came out really well. It was a pain, but it came out really well. So I have all the fabric to do this. I bought two big 30 by 36 inch pieces, and then I'm just dividing each one of those up into 6, so I have plenty of this. So that's what I have finished. As for plans for this next week, I know I said that I was gonna, you know, use my Tiny Decisions app to decide what I was gonna work. No, I didn't. That's ridiculous. No, I didn't. I just decided, what do I want to work on? And so that's what I worked on. One other thing to show you, and this is something I got in the mail this week. I bought several skeins of Kreinik blending filament. So I've got, got a caught is what I've got. So I have this iridescent one. It's kind of that rainbow iridescence. Let's try to see if it'll, okay, maybe not, maybe it won't focus. So that is 302. I have this one, which is just kind of white and sparkly. And then I have 3 different shades of gold because I'm playing around with this for a project. So what I really liked though was that when you order from Kreinik directly, they don't fulfill it themselves. They have like 4 needlework shops, local needlework shops, that they then fulfill your order through. So this I actually got from Needlepoint in Paradise in Naples, Florida. So I thought that was really kind of cool that Kreinik does that. So I think that is actually everything right now. I don't know what I'm going to work on this week. Probably some more on Anne. Probably mostly what I have out. People get cranky if I don't finish things before I start new ones. So have a good week. Stay safe. and remember to be kind to somebody. And it's okay if that somebody's you. Bye, y'all.